Well, welcome to our next edition of our weekly video recordings. And today we're talking about unlocking the potential of your team and how do you get the most out of your team's potential. So the very first step that you need to take is you need to understand and know your people. You need to know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. It's important here that you use a situational leadership style because each of your team members is going to be at various stages within their own personal growth and development. And what I mean by situational leadership is that, let's use an example. Let's say that you notice that there's a cup of coffee sitting on a table that needs to get moved. And it needs to get moved from the table to the sink so it can be washed up. Now, with some people, you're going to need to say, well, you need to see that cup that's sitting on the table. You need to lift it up by 12 inches, hold it in your hand, do a 90-degree turn to face the sink, walk 10 paces forward, and then lower the cup by 12 inches down onto the sink. Now, I'm being a little bit extreme with this, but again, this is an example of situational leadership. So some people you need to give them absolutely every detail in what it is that you want done. At the opposite end of the scale, there will be other people that all you will need to say is the cup needs to be moved. And they will automatically know that, yes, they need to pick the cup up and take it over and put it down by the sink. So that's two examples at opposite ends of the scale of situational leadership. And you're going to have team members who are going to be at various levels in between all of that. So it's important that you get to know and understand your people, know what their strengths are, know what their weaknesses are. The next area is in, again, unlocking your whole team's potential, is that you need to have weekly meetings. And the weekly meetings should be about communication, everybody understanding what everybody else is doing, what they're working on, and how they're going to contribute to the overall performance of the business. In those weekly meetings, right, this, again, it's about the communication. And what the next step is to have one-to-one meetings with each of your key team members. And in those one-to-one meetings, this will be where you'll be discussing, okay, what are you working on? How are you going to do it? Do you need any help? Is there anything that you're not sure of? Do you need some assistance from any of the other team members? These are the things that you discuss in that one-to-one meeting. And what you also agree on is, okay, well, what are the things to be achieved? How are you going to actually measure that's being achieved? And what's the timeline? Most importantly, what's the timeline that you're going to have that completed by? Breaking that then down, it's then up to each team member to start creating their own daily to-do lists. And it's important that with those daily to-do lists is that they're creating it the night before. It should be the very last thing that they do before they down their tools and go home for the day. So that daily to-do list is make a list of all of the things that need to be done the next day. Think about ugly frogs. And what I mean by ugly frogs, you may have heard me talk about this in the past. The ugly frogs are those tasks that you keep procrastinating on. They're the ones that you know that if you do get them done, that they're going to make life so much easier for yourself and for your team and even your business. So with that daily to-do list is make sure that you're eating the ugly frogs first. They're the very first things that should be on your to-do list to do tomorrow. And it's important to do it the night before because what it allows is your subconscious to work on how you're actually going to achieve and do that thing overnight. So don't underestimate the power of your subconscious helping you solve your problems, and also increasing the potential, not only for yourself, but for your team as well. It's also important that on a Friday, you also do, the last thing on a Friday is to do a weekly to-do list. So break it down into, well, what are all the things that I need to achieve next week? From there, you break that down into your daily to-do list as well. Important to have SMART goals. So when you're setting your goals, when you're setting your list of the things that you want to achieve, apply the SMART goal principle. Is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it attainable or achievable? Is it realistic, even relevant? And most importantly, is it time-framed? It's important to put timeframes on these things. So these are some ways in how you can unlock your whole team's potential. It's important that you, as the business leader, are following the keys to a winning team. And if you'd like to get a copy of the keys to a winning team, please DM me and we will send it through to you. Until next time, bye for now.